Hello!
Hi guys!
We're telling your followers that you've started a live video. Whoops! Okay, well then
Here we are.
wait until some of you join.
It's the big day of our live Q&A. And while we wait for people to come on, we thought we also remind you that it's Gratitude Day. So head over to our website and grab your free biscuit. You could be super cheeky and send one to yourself. Thank you for your own existence, or send it to someone you love, someone you like, someone you're thankful for. Hi Louisa, hi Tracy. Nice to see you. So the first people are coming on, which is great. Gratitude Day. And we could also just introduce ourselves.
Yeah. My name is Saskia.
Lisa.
I lived in the UK for 10 years now. Well, I lie. I've lived in Leeds for 10 years. I've been in the UK for a little bit longer. I lived in London a while back.
And I came to Leeds just over 8 years ago now. I'm originally from Germany. So if we talk funny stuff, then excuse us. It's kind of hard to get rid of.
So just to let you know, we've never done this before. Like sometimes we go on Instagram Live and we announce our gratitude biscuits, but we've never actually had an interaction with people on Facebook Live. So we don't really know 100% how it works. So bear with us. Really what we wanted to do was a Q&A. So if you do have any questions about, what kind of steps you can take to set up a business, then do write them in the comments and then we will cover them as best as we can. We do not know everything. We can only tell you what we've learned and what we know.
And we do see that people are joining, so there might be a slight delay, but if you have a question, pop it in the comments and we will see it pop up and get back to it. We don't have an agenda as such. We thought we give you a few a bit of an insight into our story and how you could potentially replicate some of those things in your own business. If you are running your own business, or you might just be at a point where you are thinking about starting your own business, or you have a great idea but you don't know what to do with it, or you might not have an idea, or you might have an idea that you think isn't good enough, but that's exactly why we wanted to come on, because that is part of our story, because we didn't totally have a business idea or a plan at all when we started.
No, I guess we should give you a little bit of background information. We met each other whilst working for the same digital marketing company in Leeds, and I had prior tried to start up a little bakery called Just a Pie, where I only baked apple pies in my tiny kitchen in Leeds. But after 6 months, reality hit that I should probably get a job and help my husband with paying the mortgage, and that's when we met. So for about 2 years we emailed each other at work about, wouldn't it be nice to someday maybe sell our baked goods. We didn't know where, but just like a little cafe or whatever. So we were just dreaming. And then Christmas 2015, I think it was literally Christmas Eve or something like that, we emailed each other. Lisa was in Germany and I think I was in Leeds, and I said, let's just do it. Let's just give it a go. We didn't have any dreams.
No, and at that point Saskia had a 1-year-old and I had a 6-month-old. So it was there would have been better times in our lives to do this, but motherhood kind of instilled that in us. The whole, we want to do something that means something to us. We want to spend our time purposefully and doing something meaningful, something that means something to us. So even though it was a busy time and sleep was still disrupted and we were busier than ever and we were finding our own feet in that whole motherhood world. I mean, Saskia was a bit of a veteran because she had an older daughter as well, but for me it was a massive time in my life, but at the same time I don't think I would have done it if it hadn't been for my daughter. So yeah, that so much for picking the right time for starting a business, that there is no right time, you just have to do it.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody here is a parent or especially of young children or has been there. We often equate running a business with parenthood, because like everybody knows who has children, there never really is a perfect time to have children, and there never really is a perfect time to start a business. And like we always say with regards to our children, we always say, like, just give them your time. You know, it doesn't matter how much time you have, the time that you have to give, you give. And it's almost the same with running your business. You don't have to have mountains and mountains and mountains of time to set this up in no time. You can take your time, and however little or much time you have, you spend on your business, and it might be 10 minutes a day, honest to God, and then you'll find that as your kids grow up, you can get to spend more time in the business, and it goes from 10 hours a day to 10 minutes a day to 2 hours a day to 5 hours a day, and all of a sudden, like us, you find yourself working in the business full time. But it didn't happen overnight for us. It's
absolutely not. And we look at other business owners who are at a different point in their lives, and they do amazing things in a year, and it took us 5 years pretty much to get to the point we are now. But that's our story, and again, it's a good reminder for life in general not to compare, because it's your journey and it's your point and your dreams, and you do what you can and go at your own pace.
Have you had a contingency plan on your first investment, i.e. break-even points, to go or not to go through with it? No, we didn't. We didn't think of it as a business at all, to be quite honest. We both invested, in the first 3 months of our business, we both invested £500 into it. And with that, we bought the URL, we bought props for market stalls, we paid for our first few market stalls, what did we buy?
Well, packaging, ingredients, because we had to experiment a little bit with what we were going to offer at the market. So that's where that went, pretty much. Logo, stickers, but we did so much ourselves that we didn't really have to pay anyone else much. It was more, we were investing into our business and into our brand. So we, from the very start, and I guess that comes with our professional background, from the very start we started to build a brand. So we put a lot of emphasis into creating the logo and having a website and all the social media channels. So, but all of that is pretty much free. It takes time, but you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. So yeah, but we had no plan in terms of money, like when we wanted to reach, and we had no goals. We said, okay, if we continuously lose money, we're gonna stop doing it. There was no commitment. We didn't buy in, we didn't sign up for a market slot that we had to attend every week or anything.
I mean, I'll tell you something even funnier, actually. A lot of the times we were telling ourselves that we were making money when we were actually losing money. So we'd go to a market and it might have been raining, and we took home maybe on that day 75 quid, even though we had been baking the day before for maybe 3 hours, and then we'd come home and we'd have all this leftover produce, and we somehow convinced ourselves that we made money on that 75 quid that we made that day. So you do have to be a bit delusional, I think, in this process, and maybe, lie to yourself a little bit in the beginning to make it feel a little bit better about how hard you're actually working.
Because we never factored in our time. Like we looked at ingredients, and that kind of helped us pricing our products and stuff like that, but we never factored in our time. So we've only just started doing that this year. But again, it shows you that we would not be here now if we didn't enjoy what we do. So I think we're not telling you to run a business that's not successful in terms of, that costs you lots of money. But if you have an idea that you believe in, and if you enjoy it, then stick with it. And it might just take a while, but you will. I believe it will lead somewhere eventually. You just have to, learn a lot and make a few painful experiences as well. There were a few questions. So do you still do markets now? We don't. So we were on the way out of doing markets before the pandemic hit, and then the pandemic was the absolute end to markets. And we're now at a stage where we're not looking to do any markets. We might do a few pop-ups, probably not this year though. So it's an online business only now, or you could collect from our Leeds kitchen.
Collecting chocolate, I agree about being disillusional and realistic. Yeah, it's a very particular skill for your mind to work out those weird, I don't know, equations to make it all add up, because it really doesn't add up a lot of the times, but you have to keep yourself sane, I think.
Yeah.
Would you recommend markets for our type of products? So Rory and Buddy, you do
paintings
and cards. Recommend? I find markets are a tricky one. I think they're wonderful because you get instant customer feedback, and for that they will always be valuable. But local markets are so limited in your reach. When you have an online presence, your reach is, it's pretty much infinite. It's your language skills really that hold you back. Like, you can't sell in Japan if you can't speak Japanese, and it's the postal costs, I guess, too, and distribution. But if you are UK based and you sell your art prints, in the post, then online is really it's your biggest audience, isn't it? So I think markets are great, and it's good to be with people and to meet people and get that instant customer feedback, but I wouldn't make it, your 100%.
I would also add to that after a while we understood that the markets for us were a marketing exercise rather than a money-making exercise, because there were always stalls that would not stop shifting money. Like, we have this painful experience once where we were next to a really popular brownie stall, and they sold brownies all day long, and they had van loads coming in to replenish it, and we were there with our tray bakes, and we didn't have to replenish anything and took loads home. But they were at a different stage in their business, and again, there's no point comparing. But for us, it's hard to know the ROI, the return on investment. And again, if you factor in your time, then those markets can be expensive. But if you enjoy it, and if you think of it as a marketing exercise, because once at a market we met a guy who was starting up a new cafe, and he really liked our stuff, and we then supplied his cafe for a year. So that's an invaluable relationship that we made at one of those markets. So it's one of those, if you enjoy it, then I would say it's worth doing. If you say, I'd rather spend my weekend working on my portfolio or with my family, then that, there is no right or wrong. But in our experience, everything's worth a go, I suppose. There was another question of how we want to save the world with biscuits.
Yeah, what's your vision now?
Yeah, that's a big one. Was there another one that, because we definitely want to come to that. I think that is. Yeah. So should we go to the vision now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, like we said, for many years we didn't have a goal. We didn't really know where we were going. We were drifting a little bit. We were just working incredibly hard. We look back now and we go, sometimes like,
we're busy fools.
Busy fools. Why did we do this? But when the pandemic hit, and we were at a stage where we weren't sure if we would lose our jobs, our part-time jobs in the marketing agency, the business was there for us. So, as strange as it sounds, we worked so many years without knowing where we were going, and all of a sudden it was there, and it was a real income generator, and we're now working it full time. So we quit our jobs and we're relying on the business, and we are making money. You know, we're not sitting here going with the red numbers. So we are doing well. So it can be a long journey, and I'd say take your time as well, that you don't have to sit down and have all the answers to start with. We certainly didn't, but we do have a mission and a vision now, and I'm really excited to share that with you actually. So our vision is to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, go-to online shop of personalized and branded biscuits. That is on the business side, but on the moral and ethical side, we want to revolutionize the job market in a way. So we want to normalize part-time working. We want to help women and mothers re-enter the job market after having children, because ultimately that is why we started Bloom Bakers. We wanted to have a job that was worthwhile us not being with our children for. You know, we didn't want to sit in an office and ask us why are we not with our children. Well, because we need to make the money, but that's all a bit sad, and our kids go to after school club and everyone's knackered when they come home, and we wanted more. So we created Bloom Bakers to do something where we can experiment, be creative, be our own bosses, work when we can. For many years I literally worked from 7 p.m. to midnight. That's when I worked, because that's the only time I had, because my kids were with me all day. They went to bed, and then I started working on Bloom Bakers. And you have to be mad to do that. But that you know, we did it because it gave us so much back, and it paid off. So yeah, the vision is to help other women achieve that, and also to show other businesses that it's doable, you know, that you can employ part-timers, and they don't have to. I feel like there's still a stigma around that, like, oh, it's just the part-timer, or she can't be a senior because she only works part-time. She can't be client-facing because she's only in the office for 2 days a week. I don't believe in that. So I think especially mothers are incredibly hard workers. They basically give up time with their children to be there. And they've seen it all, you know. They've had sleepless nights. They've had to find themselves. And I think they can be the best people ever to work for you if they believe in what you do and if you treat them well. So that is our big vision. And we're starting that soon, because we have, shall we probably announce it now?
Yeah.
We have 3 amazing part-timers starting for us in June, and we're so excited. They're all mothers, not that we just want to employ mothers, but it fits so well into our story. So from June we'll be a team of 5, and we just can't wait, because it's a massive step for us, and and we can't wait to share all that with you and introduce them to you, and train them up and scale them up and see how that all goes. And so
I think that rolls on nicely to the question that Instant Taco asked. How do you invest in quality control now that you've been growing? So we're moving into a commercial kitchen on the 1st of June with 3 employees, and that's going to be a massive shift for us, and a massive learning curve, no doubt. So how do we invest in quality control? Well, right now, for the past few weeks and months, really, we have completely dissected our business. Like, how are things done, in what order, what's the most efficient, most effective way to do things, all with the sole purpose of being able to train newcomers into the business in the most effective way, so that when they come in, they understand, it's supposed to look like this, these are the processes, and this should be the outcome. Again, never done it before, so we hope that we've done a good job at that, and that will keep the quality of the product as high as it's always been. But it's and I can't stress enough how much of this is trial and error. I cannot stress it enough. Like Lisa and I do not have an MBA. We have donor families who come from a business background. Everything we have done, has been, oh, let's give it a go. Oh, somebody's asked for this. Can we do that? Let's try. And we don't say no very often. And yeah, it's been hours of YouTube video watching. Like, we build our own website. Never built a website before in my life. But with YouTube, you can do anything.
And it's painful at times. I mean,
Very.
There have been sleepless nights, or where we've been up till the small hours to finish something, and there have been tears, and but it's so empowering, because in the end you have a solution, because it's just not an option not to send something to the customer. So in the end it always worked out, and that's very empowering as well. And what I would say on the quality as well, that we feel like training our employees and having all those processes in place is one part, but what is a massive part for us is to pass on the passion and the care that we have for this business and for all our customers. So I think if we live and breathe the passion and the care for our product, then hopefully they will take that up and take that on and carry that on. So we feel if we treat them right, if we give them all they need, and there's a few benefits that we offer to our employees, then hopefully they will want to create a great product. And in itself, it is a lovely product. And yes, you can do things wrong, but I think if you commit it with a level of passion and care, then it should continue at the same level. And I'm very confident in the lovely ladies that we're going to work with.
So I know you create biscuits for the commercial world, HSBC, etc. How did you manage to break into this world? You ask me, I don't know. Is the honest answer. Here's the thing, and call it a little secret. The thing that I have found is this beautiful, beautiful thing that happens when you put something in the world, and it doesn't matter what it is. But if you put something in the world, people start to respond to it. Again, parenthood, it's the same way. If you put your child into the world, people will start to respond to that child, and it will bring things into your life that you never had before. So we started with the simple act of booking a market stall for the 26th of March 2016. We did that. We put out all our wares. People came to us and said, "Oh, I like that. I'll have some of that. I'll have some of this." They didn't have some of the other stuff. And in not purchasing those things, they told us that, the market probably isn't that interested in that. And then from the things that they did see from us, they were like, "Oh, I like that. Can you also do X, Y, Z?" So I think literally that's how we landed our first corporate biscuit. It was, "Oh, I like that. Can you do it with a logo on top?"
Yeah. I'm just trying to think to our first B2B, so business to business order. And I think it was exactly that. I think it was someone who'd seen us on Instagram. And one thing that was a bit of a light bulb moment, someone said to me earlier this year, was like, whether it's B2C, so business to consumer, or B2B, business to business, it's always human to human. So if you are on Instagram putting up your post, you don't know who's going to read it. It might be a stay-at-home mom. It might be the branch manager of a big bank. You just don't know. And I think it was similar. Someone was surfing on their private account on Instagram, and they saw our embossed biscuits that we sold to the consumer at the time, and they had a launch in their business, and they said, "Oh, actually, I like that. Could you put our brand name on the biscuit?" And we're like, "Hold on, of course we can." And again, we don't come from a commercial background. We have no training in market or in managing in business and any of that. So it was literally, we learned everything on the job. So we created that first business order, they weren't leads, so we delivered them. And then we thought, that's the thing. Let's do more of that, because we only speak to one person, but they're ordering 100 biscuits at the time, and for us that was massive. I mean, 100 biscuits, imagine. And normally, you know, it takes us like 10 people to shift that. So what we then did was make that a thing on our website, because again, you can only sell what people can see. So we then created a category on the website that said corporate biscuits or branded biscuits, or I don't know how we called it at the time. So when people looked for it in Google, if someone Googles logo biscuits or branded biscuits, they could find us. And that's something, obviously our digital marketing background helped us with massively. So that's what you call SEO, search engine optimization, that you Google something and then Google takes you to a website that's relevant for your search. And that helped us massively. So I'm not saying do that and you'll be there, because it's a long process. But start it, definitely. So if you want to, Louisa, if you want to break into the B2B world, then I'd say post about that. Post on Instagram about how your prints are a nice client gifts, or your cards could be used as thank you cards for customers. Make that a category on your website, because categories stand out more. They have a you know, Google reads things more if it's a category rather than just a post. And then write blog posts about popular things in that sphere. So you could write about the 10 best small businesses in Leeds that produce client gifts, or something like that. And you could talk about yourselves, and you could link out to others and share the love. And next time someone Googles small business Leeds, then your blog post might show, just because, you know, if you optimize it for certain keywords, and if it's relevant and well written, then that's how it works. So yeah, I'd recommend just, again, experiment. If you say, oh, that could be a lucrative market for us, then talk about it. Because sometimes we're like, oh, I'd like to do that, and like, well, do you actually take the steps it requires to get there? So again, just do it. And one thing I would say though is to kind of stay true with your brand as well, because it's important to experiment, but it's also important to know who you are. So I think in your case, you wouldn't dilute your brand if you sold to B2B, but you would probably dilute it if you started mass producing or selling to Vistaprint or something. So you have to just find that balance between what is you, but what can you do to increase your sales and maximize your reach.
Instant tackle, what do you mean with on your website? Is there...
So for us, our website was always really important, and I think that's how we land all our B2B orders now. Every now and then it's a private account that sees it on social media and then sends us an email, but most of the time it's people Googling logo biscuits and then they find us.
Yeah, and a lot of times, you know, we also say, like, if you're just starting out, so we knew that we could bake. We were not cordon bleu chefs, but, you know, we've had friends and families enjoy our bakes. So on that level, we knew we could bake. And like Lisa mentioned before, on the other hand, we knew that we could do search engine optimization. So we knew about websites and how websites are found online. So we started our business with those two base understandings. So I think you should always start with what you know, and then from that research and add on other pieces of knowledge. So if you don't know much about SEO, then I would highly, highly recommend you going on YouTube and research it, because it's such a huge bit of understanding. It's like we didn't know anything about accounting, really. Like I don't know, I didn't like numbers. I did accounting in secondary school and I hated every step of it. But when we had to run our own business, we had to learn about it. We had to understand, you know, what profit margins mean and what is a healthy profit margin, and, you know, how to price your products. We didn't know, you know, and this is, so everything that you know you start with in your business, and you lay those foundations as best as you can, because you understand what's good and what isn't good in your field of expertise. Everything that you don't know, you acquire a base knowledge for. Like, we have a very, very base knowledge of accounting now, and we've hired an accountant since after the first year. We made a few mistakes.
And we nearly got fined.
And
so.
we clearly needed an accountant, but we at least understand the basics of accounting, and we can open a spreadsheet and, you know, fill in some numbers.
Louisa, we can do both, mention you and mentor you. Yeah, I would love to. Only earlier we're saying that we should, on the mention side, that we should write more blog posts again, because that's what helps the SEO and your rankings, and we haven't done that for ages, so we're not actually practicing what we're preaching here. So we have a few blog posts planned, and your brand would work well. So we're going to give you a mention. And in terms of mentoring, yeah, let's go for a walk and have a chat. Very happy to answer any more questions that you have, or, you know, if you have any more, then put them in, and we're on a roll now, so happy to keep this going a little bit more. I see a few people had to dash off, and that's fine, but Rebecca just joined. Hey, nice to see you. And
Audrey. Hi, Audrey.
So yeah, what else?
Did we have a few more questions that were...
Oh yeah, sorry, there were a few questions people sent in beforehand. Let me bring them up. So one was, what are your current challenges and how do you overcome them?
Current challenges. I think, well, for me personally, my current challenge is to believe. Now, this is quite major and quite massive, and, you know, there's this thing that so many people probably know, which is imposter syndrome, and, you know, this is like little voices in your brain saying to you, oh, you know, who are you for doing this? And even doing this Insta Live, I'm like, oh, okay, well, Lisa, you
what
know,
do we have to say?
We don't know anything. We just do, you know, we've just been, I don't know, trying lots of different stuff. It feels like we're just throwing mud at the wall, is that what you say? And then seeing if it sticks, kind of thing. So for me, that's an area for me that has always been a challenge, and, you know, it might not ever go away, but it's just really learning to, I don't know, to own this space, to own the fact that we built this entire thing from the ground up with no help, no outside funding, and to really, really believe that what we have built can become so much bigger than where we are now. That's my personal challenge.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely working on that as well. Another challenge, I think, for us at this stage in our business is growth. So we're clearly taking steps to grow. We're preparing for growth. That's something a lovely lady who owns a business called Avamea Aromas, Hannah, told us. She said she never prepared for growth, and all of a sudden she had more orders that she could cope with, and she was like, you know, you've got a good idea, you know what you're doing, prepare for growth. And that's what we're doing. So we are hiring people who can work more hours if we need them to, and that is all in order to grow. But obviously the orders also need to come in, otherwise we'll lose money if we have this commercial kitchen and lots of employees now. So that is definitely leaving the comfort zone there, definitely stepping into the unknown big time. And yeah, I mean, we have ideas of how we get more orders, but again, it will be trial and error, and a few of those probably won't lead to much. But again, it's that believing that it will work out, because it always has so far. Yeah, I think that's probably the big two at the moment. One thing I wanted to say as well in terms of overcoming is, don't be afraid to ask for help. So whatever that may be, if it's simple accounting that just gives you sleepless nights, or if it's something a bit more in the realm of mentoring or personal development even. So we have joined something that is called the Eagle Labs, which is a mentoring program organized by Barclays Bank, and that's been incredible and totally free of charge. So if you go to, well, I guess if you Google Eagle Labs Barclays, then you can access that as a small business, and you get put in touch with serial entrepreneurs and business people who are very, very kind and generous in sharing advice with you. So that's been very, very helpful and useful. We also work with a coach, Will Polston. Some people might have heard of him. He's been an amazing help. It's his birthday today as well. Happy birthday, Will. He has just helped us get some clarity into what we want. He's definitely helped us shape our vision and mission. So we are just a lot more clear on what we want, and also believe in ourselves a lot more. I think the imposter definitely for me was a lot stronger even just a few months back. So there's plenty out there, and it's worth investing in yourself, because you are your business. And if you feel like, sometimes I think you're the only thing that's in the way. So if you can work through your own, don't want to call it issues, but if you want to work through your own challenges, then likelihood is that the business challenges will shift as well. So do reach out and get all the help and support that you can get on the whole mentoring and coaching front.
Does anyone have any more questions that they want to pop in the chat?
There was one more here. Which was,
what are the main benefits of being self-employed for you?
Yeah, what are the main benefits? That was a good one. For me personally, it's being my own boss. I realize the older I get how much I don't like being told what to do, and that isn't because I'm a rebel or I don't want to conform or anything, but I'm not creative on the switch of a button, and I'm not a robot who can produce the same results every day at any time of the day. So I very much fluctuate through the month. I have weeks where I can take on the world and I work 12 hours and it's not an issue, and I have weeks where I want to sleep all day and curl up on the sofa and not do a lot. And being self-employed allows for that. You don't have to justify any of that. Same with obviously combining it with your family life. My little boy was ill 2 weeks ago and it wasn't an issue. I just stayed home with him, and I mean, obviously we have each other to hold accountable, but there's 100% understanding. If Saskia's kids are ill, or if Saskia's ill, then there is no hard feelings from my side or any like you're slacking it or the fear of having to work the time back or whatever it is. So that freedom and flexibility for me is priceless.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because I thought about this the other day, and it's slightly off topic, but a lot of people always say don't go into business with family or friends, and it's funny actually because, like we mentioned before, Lisa and me were colleagues, we weren't really friends. We were definitely not best friends. It wasn't like, yeah, pop off, put the kettle on, and we have a banter or anything. It wasn't like that at all. We were colleagues, and we just happened to have, I don't know, a same spark or a similar mindset, or just, I have no idea what it was. Yeah. But we became the bestest of friends doing this. So I still don't know if it's right or wrong to go into business with family and friends, but I'm in it now with what feels like family and my dearest friend, and it does, doing it as a partnership with my friend, I mean, I can't tell you how light that makes the working days. It's just, it feels like play most of the time, and I think that's what it should feel like.
Yeah, it's a pure joy. It doesn't feel like work, even if it's a late one or an urgent one, or if the suppliers don't deliver on time and it's a bit of a painful one. Most of the time it's an absolute joy and it doesn't feel like work.
So there's another question. I think we'll round it off at about 1:45. At what point is it good to look for investors? It's a good question, and we don't really know the answer to that. I think, like I said, we've only ever invested £500 each, and I currently don't really know when would be a good time to look for investors. There's so much. The reason for doing it, I think, to go to investors are so different, and we once did look into it, but then there's so many things like giving up a part of your ownership of your company to somebody else. That's huge. Like, I don't think you'd ever see us on Dragon's Den negotiating, what percentage we might be giving away. I don't know. I think we want to push it to the limit as to how far that initial, £500 investment can push us. It might take us to £1 million one day.
I think we looked into crowdfunding not too long ago, and one of the first things the lady who would help us create a crowdfunding campaign said was, what do you need the money for? So I think you need a very clear answer to that question. Like, why are you asking for 100, 200, 300,000 pounds, for example? What do you need that money for? And it's only going to be a successful campaign if you have a compelling answer to that. So for us, it sounds probably silly, but we don't need it at this point in time, because we are happy where we are. We're happy growing it or continuing it to grow organically and at our own pace, where we still have a little bit of control over things. And we want to learn ourselves almost. It's like I don't want to, it feels like I want to learn to run myself. I don't want anyone to hold me by the hand and just make me fly over the finish line. I want to do it myself, and that's why I decided not to do it right now. Not to say that we're never gonna do it, but we didn't have a clear answer to that. I mean, we might come to a stage where we outgrow the commercial kitchen that we're going to move into, and that is probably then a time to get some investments so you can cover your expenses to kit out a new kitchen, to pay all your overheads, and make sure you can pay all the bills, whilst you might have to put a hold on to orders and stuff like that. But for now, I think until you can answer that question, there's probably not much point thinking about.
And I think the thing that I've read from a lot of, and this is mainly maybe tech startup land and maybe not so much, product development stuff, but a lot of the times you see that young business owners get given so much money, and again, to understand how a business works, if you've not worked in a business before and then being handed all of that money, you're probably not going to be as effective and efficient with that money as you could had you understand your business and your objectives a little bit more. I remember in the first 6 months of us having started this company, we met up with John Redman. He used to work at the company where we both worked as a sales director, and he said, the business that you are talking to me about today is not going to be the business that you will have in 5 years' time. And we understand now what our business is like. It's changed so much from 5 years ago, and it'll change again in the next 10 years. But the core understanding of what it is that we do we understand now, and that has taken us, you know, X amount of years to come to that. So I guess, you know, in a roundabout way, I just want to say things take time, and they, you know, on a daily basis, I think we say that to each other. Why nothing is easy. Like everything just seems to take time, and it takes more time than you think. And in the same way, understanding your business takes time as well. So don't run.
No,
you know, before
be patient. Make sure you do it for the right reasons. I would say I would finish it off to say, if you do it because you really believe in it and you think there's a market, but things are a bit slow, then don't worry too much about that. Be persistent, stick with it, follow your dreams. I mean, I sound like my mom now, but it is true. I mean, I think if you have an idea and you really believe in it, then there's no reason why it can't work. You obviously have to adapt and stay agile, but that's easy as a small business. But yeah, just be patient, walk your own path at your own pace, and yeah, I'm sure it will pay off.
Yeah, I guess it's almost 1:45, and we just wanted to say that please go online and get yourself a free thank you biscuit, you know, completely free of charge. We'll send it to anybody in the UK, and it's only for today, so don't miss out on that. And if you have any questions at all about anything, drop us an email or send us a direct message here on Instagram. Like I said, we don't know much, but we do know what we do know. So we're happy to impart wisdom, knowledge.
And thanks for showing up today, for staying with us, and we'll see you again very soon.
Okie dokie.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.